Welcome to the National Women's Fitness Academy podcast. We're here to talk about women's health, female hormones, body image, and all things health and fitness.
So excited today, guys, to have Stephanie Sanzo on. Welcome to the Women's Fitness podcast. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being my first guest, actually, in a while.
Oh, really? Well, there you go. Thank you for having me. I hope that we can chat about the big stuff and make it as interesting as possible.
I'm so excited. I had a quick little break. I had about 4 weeks off. But I'm pumped to have you as my first guest.
I'm excited to be here then. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So we had a little chat, but just so you guys know, I came across Stephanie quite a while ago. It was about 2018 at one of the fitness expos, and I've been following her ever since, and also a long time before that as well. But for anyone who doesn't follow you or who doesn't know who you are, I would love for you just to talk about how you got started in the fitness industry and just your story and how you got to the incredible place that you are today.
Yeah, so it's funny. I always tell the story as I try and condense it as much as possible, but the basic gist of it is I was never into fitness. None of my family are into fitness at the time. No, it wasn't, how some people either their parents were, tennis players or something. There was something in the family bloodline. Nothing on our end. We were very just a creative family. My mum used to do clowning, just nothing in relation to being fit or being an athlete. But so my story began because I actually had a marriage breakdown and I became a single mum of 2 beautiful children. And I had to basically find a way to put food on the table for my kids. And at the time, I was looking through the paper trying to find out what I could do. And I saw this personal training course online. I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I should do this. This might allow me to kind of work my own hours and still be there with my kids. So that basically compacted is how I started into the fitness industry, with basic pure survival, just trying to make my way and work the hours that I could. But the crazy thing is, the more I studied it doing my PT course, and the more I implemented what I had learned into my own life, I just began falling in love with the process. And I don't know, a passion for it came out of nowhere. A passion I didn't even know I had was awakened. So that kind of is what kickstarted my journey.
Yeah, and from, obviously starting your fitness certificates and getting into the industry to having 2.5 million followers, some incredible businesses, and overall, you've just done such an incredible job within the industry. What inspired you to take that strength space? So again, for anyone who hasn't come across you before, which I'm sure isn't a lot of people, you have been an absolute trailblazer in the strength space for women. You were one of the first people I ever followed who bench pressed. I remember thinking oh, what's that? That looks really cool. And you were so strong. What inspired you to take that avenue within the fitness industry?
So that's so funny. I kind of fell into that as well. It's not something I actually chose. I was working for a gym called Strong Geelong back in the day. That's where I started my PT with my clients earlier before that, and then moved into that gym. And that gym was really powerlifting, strongman focused. And so I was training my girls, doing the fat loss stuff, the heart rate stuff. And, we would be looking over to the other end of the gym because we were where the dumbbells were doing our stuff. And my girls would always say, oh, what are they doing? Because what would happen? It's really crazy. You probably know a bit about this, kind of coming from the powerlifting gym style, atmosphere. But suddenly, someone would put this song on, and it was then the music would go up. And then suddenly everyone goes quiet and stops their workout. And you're like, what's going on? And then you would look, and then someone's doing a big lift and everyone's watching and the gym's getting hyped up. And this atmosphere was just so crazy. It just rippled through everybody. And, my girls would stop and watch as well. And they're like, oh, we don't deadlift or do those exercises. What are they? And to be honest, I didn't learn that in my course. I didn't know how to teach them that. The first thing about it, I was just working in a gym that happened to do a lot of it. So I said to who's now my partner, by the way, who's the owner of the gym, I said, you know, do you reckon you could teach me some of these movements? Because my girls want to know how to do it. And if I'm going to learn, like, I want to learn from the best, because he was actually competing at the time, you know, getting his records or whatever. He was actually quite elite. And he's like, well, you know what, if I'm going to teach you these movements, you're going to do it yourself and actually properly learn. I was like, no, you do it, I'll watch and I'll learn from watching you, and you just talk me through. It's like, no, you're going to get out there and you're going to do it. So he actually, you know, brought me into the powerlifting world, and I started training in a powerlifting style just to basically learn so I could teach my own clients. And as I progressed with it, as you know, you get real excited and the numbers that you're hitting and just keep chasing more. And yeah, that's how that kind of kick-started, you know, the whole powerlifting, bodybuilding mixture of what I do to this point today.
Yeah, and I totally get that. Once you go into that, you know, strength space where you're right, you know, the adrenaline, the excitement of people lifting heavy, and it doesn't matter if you're deadlifting, you know, 40 kilos and that's someone's 1RM, or, you know, 150 kilos, whatever it is, that excitement and that passion. How did you find your clients transitioning from, you know, general strength training with dumbbells to more into that heavy powerlifting, power building type training?
Yeah, so exactly what you said. It was more of a transition into bodybuilding and powerlifting, what we like to call power building. I think it was too much at first just to do straight powerlifting. I think that, you know, if you are training as a powerlifter, that the accessory movements are really, really important to your strength as well. So I really implemented that within their own training, making sure they're getting the look of someone being fit. You know, you want to look like you lift, not just lift heavy and then not utilize other muscle groups. But so I introduced them slowly into adding those compound movements in over time, and they just fell in love with it. They started chasing the numbers as well. I do remember at first they were a little bit intimidated, you know, thinking, oh, I can't do that, like that's too heavy for me, or I could never hit a 100-kilo deadlift. And once we started getting close to those numbers or even hit them, it was just, after that, they didn't even care about, you know, women shouldn't lift like that, or is that going to make me look like a man? They just fell in love with it.
Yeah, totally. And that kind of brings me to my next point. So you were really one of the first people to showcase powerlifting, power building, and bodybuilding and that type of training combined, and show that, you know what, you can be really fucking strong and still look feminine, or look however you want to look. How did you find that going into the strength space where, you know, there were still those misconceptions that if you lift, you know, too heavy, you're going to look like a man? How did you find yourself as you got stronger? Did you have any insecurities, or as you got stronger, you just thought, hell yeah, I'm just going to get stronger, and I don't care? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, about what people say. I don't care if people think that I'm too muscular or not muscular enough. It's almost like the image gets taken away because your strength becomes your main focus, but then as a result, you look better. How did you find transitioning across to that training, and then that mindset going from your general strength training you're doing before?
Yeah, so I could probably say that I was really scared to even pull heavy weights. I actually said to my trainer / partner, trainer at the time.
Yeah.
Technically, he wasn't my trainer because he wasn't accepting my payments, because he didn't want me to be a paying client, because that's kind of like really inappropriate. I didn't know that he had eyes for me back then, so I was stupid. I'm like, no, let me pay you. He's like, no, you're paying me. I'm like, but anyway, so I actually said to him, I'm like, you know what, that's why I said I want to learn this, but I don't want to do it because I don't want to. I don't want to look like those dudes. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to still look like a woman. And he laughed at me. And then he actually got online and on Instagram, and he showed me all these other powerlifting girls. Which, by the way, men, never do that. Never show other females. Like, are you crazy? But that's just a funny joke between him and I. But so he started showing me these other females that were strong and, you know, looked feminine. I was like, oh, okay, all right. So I'm not gonna turn into a man. And it's so funny that women still have that misconception in their mind, because it just makes sense that if you lift heavy, you gain muscle. And so muscle is masculine in, society's opinion of some people. But it takes so much, as you know, to gain muscle. So much with your diet, with your training, and intentionally putting on size. Like, it's actually really, really hard. I mean, I've been training for 10 years now and still don't have, huge delts out the side coming, banging on the door when I walk through it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just takes so long. So once I understood the mechanics of the body, and also just started to lift the weights and notice that only good things were happening. Like, I was getting stronger and I was getting tone, and it wasn't what they say. That was really easing on my mind. And as far as, the whole, wear makeup, like hair, whatever, when you're lifting, I really truly believe, and this is the point that I came to, because I had a lot of negative comments saying, why are you lifting with your hair out? Like, who looks like that? Why have you got a cake face full of makeup? Like, that's so ridiculous. And lifting weight, that's why you get followers, Stephanie, because you're just like all for, like, show off or whatever. And it's so funny because I do my hair and do my makeup because that makes me feel good. I'm doing this regardless of whether I'm in the gym or not. Like, I get ready in the morning and do the same thing whether I'm training or going down to the supermarket. That's just who I am, and it makes me feel good. So if you can feel good and go into the gym and feel confident, you're going to actually lift heavier and train better. If you go to the gym in your pajamas, you're telling yourself you're still asleep and you're still in bed and you're not going to lift as heavy. So I really believe that if you feel good within, that whatever you touch on the outside will produce fruit as well. So that's probably one of the main reasons why I never, took my makeup off or tied my hair into a tight bun all the time when I train, because I just feel myself and feel empowered by what I do. It's not really just to show off and be, I don't know, like a little Barbie for fun. Just enjoy makeup and hair. I'm a woman. You're a woman. Like,
I could not agree with you more. And I actually wrote a post about that a couple of weeks ago. Whatever it is that makes you feel strong and powerful, whether that's, wearing your hair and makeup and looking, a little bit more glammed up for the gym, do that. If that makes you feel strong, amazing. If you want to wear your hair slicked back and not wear makeup, that's cool. Like, you do you, and whatever it is that makes you feel, like the strongest version of yourself. Which you really, which you do. And I think it's amazing. And I actually think we live in this weird space now where it's almost seen as something bad if you look good at the gym. And you're really changing that, and you're showing women that, you know what, you can look however you want to look, and if you want to wear makeup, then that's okay. So I love that. That brings me to my next point. So you've mentioned a couple things about the way you currently train, and you've mentioned power building and bodybuilding and powerlifting. But what does your training look like now? How many days a week are you training? Are you just strength training? Do you do any cardio? What is that looking like?
Yeah, it's so messed up.
It's probably bad timing as well that I'm asking.
No, it's not even that. Like, with COVID and everything, and then we've had kids home as well. Like, most of last year, I feel like they were at home or homeschooling. I used to be so strict in my training. Like, it was like, this was my training program and these were the lifts that I did and the accessories, and it was so perfect, and I got great results. But I found over time, when you start your businesses and things, and kids, and my kids are teenagers now, and like just trying to do everything plus handle social media sometimes, and in the past and even recently, a lot of my training has been dictated by social media posts. It's like, oh crap, I didn't post a glute workout last week, I better do it today. And it's so sporadic, and I used to get really frustrated by that and almost a little bit bitter. I'm like, I just can't live my life and train the way I want. I've got to do this and do that now. But I think like I've just had to really let go. And I know for a lot of people that are trying to get results, letting go a little bit sounds terrible. But if it's really well, for me, it was like causing, I don't know, grief. And so I've let go of the structure a little bit and just made sure that I'm keeping in my basics. So for me right now, with handling all my other things that I want to do, which are now a priority over my training because I want to launch my clothing brand beyond it. And I've got programs out on the Sweat app now and other things that take a lot of my time. I have just made sure that I've kept my things that are important into me. So like I'll do my squat, bench and dead. I'll always do my squat, bench and dead somewhere in the week. I'll try and get it done. And sometimes it might be a fortnight before I deadlift again, but I've actually found my body works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise I accumulate stress and I actually lift worse. And I think like the stronger you get as well, the more that your body will become inflamed, and it's not actually good to be training a heap. So back in the day, I used to be go, and my body could handle it back then, but now it's like taper back and I'm still able to maintain my strength. I don't have any strength goals at the moment with my training, and maybe that's why it's all over the place because I'm trying to launch my businesses, but I'm just maintaining and focusing on feeling good within myself without the pressure of like, do a comp, do this, get strong. I've been there and done that, and I enjoyed it, but at the same time it can become too much and then you just end up hating it. So that's where I'm at right now.
Absolutely. And like you said, life takes so many twists and turns. And before we get into business, because you have some really exciting things coming up that I would love to talk about. Before we get into that though, what are your PBs? So what's the most you've ever lifted for your squat, bench and deadlift?
Oh my gosh, it's been a while since I've tested them. Okay, let me think. I haven't tested my squat. You know how you do your 1RM and you test? I haven't tested that since 2016. So my partner's yelling something out at me. What did you say? Oh, he's telling me my lifts.
Oh, I love that.
He knows my lifts.
So
so he said it's a 140 squat. I think I did.
Yeah.
In 2016. He's telling me I've got an 82 kilo bench.
Wow.
I think that was a couple of years ago I tested, but I have had a recent deadlift PR, which is, what's my PR? Oh, 165, which is amazing. Crazy because I can lift 160 for like 3, I think, or something like that. But yet my PB is 160. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
I am a better repper than I am a 1 RM, if that makes sense. Like, I'm in my head and I'm like, I can't. But yet, if I've got to wait and I lift it once, I can lift it a few times. It's real messed up.
I find I coach females only, but I find most women are like that from my experience.
Are you like that as well?
Do you know what I am? Yeah, no, I totally am. Yeah. In my head, I calculate, okay, if I can do this many reps at this weight, like 170, easy. And then I get to 170, not easy.
Yeah.
Not easy at all.
It's crazy. You can really, and that's the thing about lifting. You can really get in your head and do it all. That's probably why I stay away from powerlifting, like, going out there and actually doing it on record, because I know me and I know that I'll stuff it up. So, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. But still, considering that you can hit such high numbers and you're so strong, and like I mentioned, when I first saw you bench pressing, I don't think I saw any female at that time. I was obviously very new to the industry and to the sport. Well, actually, it was before, obviously, I started powerlifting. But yeah, you were the first female I ever saw bench pressing, and especially with an arch, with a forbidden arch. Oh, yeah. And I was like, that looks sick. That looks really cool. She's so strong, and she's so, like, just looks like a woman, and she's strong and powerful, and it was very inspiring.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm glad that was inspiring, especially arch too, that can cop a lot of flack from a lot of people saying that's the wrong way to do it. But in the powerlifting community, it's important to protect yourself when you're doing a lift.
100%.
And a lot of people don't understand that. But just see, like, benching, it is such a lot of females are a little bit timid around that because of maybe, I don't know, boobies or whatever it is they think that they can't train for a certain reason why. So I think, just even yourself, benching and blowing the steam off that and saying, hey girls, like, grab the bar, it's fine, nothing bad's going to happen. I think it's beautiful.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. Now, we've got some very exciting things coming up, or you have some very exciting things coming up business-wise. I love talking about business. I love hearing what other people are getting up to and businesses they're launching. I would love for you to tell the girls and all the listeners your latest business venture and what's happening.
Yeah, so the newest one is Yondit. And I know earlier on you were trying to pronounce it. You're like, what is it? So Yondit is the clothing brand. The reason it's called Yondit is because when I used to get really flustered around the house and upset with things, I would be like, I'm just beyond it. I'm beyond it. And then my partner was always like, oh, you Yondit, are you? Yondit. Because I'd say it really fast, Yondit. So it was this personal joke between him and I. And then when we were looking for a clothing brand name that meant something to us, Yondit kind of popped in our minds and we were laughing about it. But we've kind of put a positive spin on it, saying, get beyond your limitations. It's not like a negative thing anymore. But yeah, that's the reason we called it Yondit. And I manifested, I like to say, this dream of having my own clothing brand when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
I used to have this little book and I used to draw, I never studied textiles or anything like that or kind of led into that when I was younger, but I just remember having this book and I would draw these pictures and details of a clothing brand that I would once have. And life obviously went on, had kids at 19. And then at 25, I started taking screenshots. When I was 25 years old, I started taking screenshots in my phone and I called it Goat Apparel. I don't know why, but I put all these screenshots of things on the internet that I'd find, and I had this like full folder. And now I'm nearly 35, 10 years later again, and it's finally happening. So it's like life was showing me this is probably where you should go. And it's always been in my heart to do this. And it's been scary and I never ever found a way to make it possible, but it's kind of just fell into an alignment now and it's the time and we're doing it and it feels perfect timing, to be honest. So I just, there's a lot of, I guess, heart going into this and it's just like a manifestation coming to life. And it's really exciting. And it's dropping soon too. In a couple of days. We're actually in the middle of unpacking it all right now and scanning it all in. And it's really exciting.
That's so exciting. I can't wait to get my hands on some things. What date is the official launch?
Well, I can't tell you that.
Ooh, actually, no, I did sign up for the email list.
Oh, did you? Perfect. Yeah, it will be really, really soon. Days away, but well, I'll be launching it on the social medias, and you guys will all find out. And I really appreciate you actually putting in your email and supporting us in that. It's really, really exciting.
That's so exciting. I'm so excited for you, and I'm sure the pieces are going to be amazing as well.
Yeah, it's very me.
Yeah. And obviously,
it's really easy to go maybe make something that the general pop will wear, but I think coming into the fitness, apparel space, I really wanted it to be kind of personal, and then I can kind of like go more mainstream after that. But it's very
100%. And I think you're such a loved person in the industry, and you have such a unique look as well. And I think being able to create a brand that's very you, and things that you're going to wear, I think that's so important, and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very excited.
Now, I know you've been on the Sweat app for a few years now. How did you get involved with the Sweat app, and what's your involvement now with those programs?
Yeah, so I've been on it. I think this is my third year that I've been with Sweat. So the CEO of Sweat, Toby, at the time DM'd me and he's like, meet up with Kayla and myself. We think that you really fit what we're about and our values. And at the time I was actually looking to do my own fitness app. But then, I went onto the Sweat app, had a meeting with them, and it was kind of fit what I was about as well. So that's kind of how that started. I was approached and that kind of fell into alignment at the time as well, which is crazy to think. But there's this just amazing, huge community of people and women. Sorry, I should say women. It's mostly women. And there's just like, they all chat and they all support each other. And every day I, log into my phone and I see people doing my workouts and tagging me in their progress. And it's just this community that I never thought ever existed. It's funny, like, when I was on Instagram just doing my thing, putting out content, yeah, people would message and stuff, but I never actually understood what our community was. Like when people would say community, I'd be like, oh yeah, cool, community, whatever. But this actually is just women like just supporting each other, messaging every day, and just it's all, I feel like I know them all, even though there's thousands of them. I just have this interaction with them every day. So it's been a beautiful 3 years with Sweat, and I don't know what the future holds or what's going to happen in, you know, in the next couple of years. But right now I'm just enjoying being a trainer with them and, you know, launching Yondit and seeing the girls in Yondit as well and just enjoying the ride.
It's so exciting, and I love that you've been able to venture out as well, of, you know, starting in a gym and then being able to progress in the way you have and venturing into other business avenues. I think it's really important, especially nowadays, that we expand and we look at other ways of expanding ourselves and our business.
Yeah, and it's scary too. Like sometimes when you can't see what's going to happen and you want to move into something else, but maybe it doesn't have the financial support you need or like the confirmation that it's going to be okay. Sometimes we hold back out of fear. But I think that if you can actually get past that and step into what I like to call the next level, and especially if that next level is really scary and it actually is going to put you out and probably make you take a step back, but you know it's the right thing, that's when things just go boom, like when we step into the unknown and out of the comfortable. And I know that, you know, the first earlier on years I was very comfortable doing PT with people in person, and I loved that, but it was growing and I couldn't handle it. I could have maybe told a few people and stayed in my little comfortable little house of what I was doing, or, you know, go fully online and not know what's going to happen. But I think that was the best choice. Yeah, I always like to tell these little stories because I want other people to feel encouraged in their own journey or where they're at right now in their life, you know, whether they've got these huge dreams and they never think it's going to happen, like just manifest on it and take movements each day to get closer to it and don't let fear hold you back. So
Absolutely. And I guess you've covered it, but how do you deal with the stress and anxiety of launching a new business, or, you know, that fear of the unknown? What are some things that you've learned along the way that's helped you move through that?
so funny. I got really sick I think 2 years ago now because the years are going so fast. I ended up like not doing very good with what you just said, like letting my stress accumulate, not doing anything to relieve myself, just smashing the training. I completely burnt out. And I ended up getting like parasites, gut bacteria issues. Like I was internally a really bad mess. I like put on a stack of weight really, like without even changing my diet. I was getting niggles injuries. Was getting depressed, to be quite honest. And that's why earlier I was saying to you, you know, about letting go, about not trying to keep up with everything all the time, and just having peace again and letting go of things that don't really matter. That really helped me. So yeah, I ended up getting a naturopath's help and ended up reducing my stress by pulling my training load back a little bit, like the volume. Started reading every day information that would help me recover, like things about my gut, things about, you know, stress, things about meditation and all that stuff that I used to laugh at. Like I used to laugh at meditation. I'm like, that's not me. I can't sit still and sit there and do, you know, whatever this is. And I still probably laugh at it a little bit, but I found my own ways that suit me to like calm down. I can't sit in one spot for 1 minute. Like even sitting here, I'm like waving my hands and I'm going from left to right, you know. So for me, the meditation type thing was the education and the podcasting and, you know, even taking a minute just to have my coffee in peace or like focus on positive things and take a day off and maybe go for a walk instead of, you know, training. And I love training, don't get me wrong. And I think it's really important to do that. But there's also a point where you have to know your body and listen to your body. And if your body's saying, I'm stressed out, like make sure that you're doing things to bring yourself back down to a normal being instead of being heightened by everything all the time, because it will just lead to burnout. So yeah, for me, it was more just taking a step back, breathing, telling myself that everything will work out, not getting in my head, and also realizing that you can't keep going forever without breaking, which is what I did.
Yeah.
And then I got stopped in my tracks and I had to do something about it. So yeah, I think stress management is huge, and just, having goals that align with your values instead of just doing things for either money or clout or popularity or whatever it is. Like, make sure that you're aligned.
Absolutely. And you're so right that when your body is so stressed and you're mentally stressed, it's going to show you signs to
Yeah.
chill the fuck out,
Yeah.
or it's going to force you into having to take a step back, which is obviously what happened to you in that case.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, those signs you're talking about, most of the time we just ignore it. We just
Yeah.
ignore it because if I stop, then I'll get behind, or this person will get in front. If you really trust in life that life is for you and that whatever is meant to be will be, then you can live in more peace. When you're trying to control everything all the time because you don't have faith that it's going to work out, then you just end up a pile of exhaustion, and you end up in a place where you don't want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything you said, I'm having so many like light bulb moments. Like, you know what? I even need to check myself, because it's so easy to, just be go, go, go. And it is almost a fear of, for a lot of people, a fear of failure is often what leads them to burnout, because they don't know when to rest, when resting is actually going to, in the long run, most of the time, result in more success, because you're going to obviously be able to do a better job of what you're currently doing than when you're exhausted and hitting your head against a brick wall.
Exactly.
Yeah. So many words of wisdom. Now, this is a bit of a random question, but on social media and in general, and obviously talking today, you do have so much on the go. You're running multiple businesses, you're a mum, you're a partner, you're so strong, you're so successful, and it's amazing to see. But what do you like to do for fun outside of the fitness world? What do you do in your downtime?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, for me, it used to be the fashion thing, like looking at clothing and outfits all the time and buying makeup and like just doing tutorials, like, and never posting them. I'm just, I wish I had, if I could be real, I wish I had more activities outside of fitness. But I guess I made a choice the last, I don't know, couple of years where I'm like, I've only got one like chance in this world to like, chase my dreams. So I'm just focusing the energy that I have on that. And obviously spending time with my kids, being more present. I can't say there's any actual activities where I go out hunting or play golf on the weekends. I like eating Nando's on the weekends and Netflix and chill.
Perfect.
But my life, like, it's crazy. I haven't had any like real hobbies that's just outside of fitness, and it's probably something I need to work on, because I get asked that question a lot. It's like, what do you do outside of gym? It's like, well, I've got kids. I'm like, I have to do their homework and run them to gymnastics and boxing, and like, it's like, but that's just the life right now. And I think, once we get past like the busyness and the hard stages of setting everything up, I'll probably have more time to really figure out what I want to do. But I really just enjoy peace. I really love reading. Trying to finish books are always a challenge for me, and then passing them on to other people, saying, read this, and I know they're not going to read it, but that's okay. It's like, when you learn, it's so funny when you learn something, you want someone else to learn it too, but sometimes they're not ready.
100%, especially when you get inspired by whatever you've learned, and you want to pass that on.
Yeah, and then you underline it in the book, hoping that they'll see it too. So funny. But and then spending time with my partner as well. So, when we get a spare moment, just dating, that's really fun.
Yeah.
I'm doing that.
Yeah, I love that so much. And it's been so amazing talking to you, and you're such an inspiring person for so many reasons, not just within the strength space and the fitness space and everything you've achieved in business, but as a person, you're so down to earth. You have so many words of wisdom, and I think that all the girls and guys listening to this podcast are going to get a lot out of what we've talked about today.
I hope so. I don't want people to think that anything is an overnight success. I think that anything that you choose to do, put your heart, mind and soul into, you can make it come to life. And that's basically what's happened with me. I don't think I have made it. I'm still on my journey, but I think like earlier on I had a lot of dreams that I never forgot about. So my encouragement, here's the comments people probably don't want, and I'm going to throw it out there, but my encouragement to everyone else, you know, if there's something that you want to do and it's in your heart, it's there for a reason. So don't forget that. Even if you feel like it's not possible for you right now, there's a reason that it's in your heart. So do, you know, one thing each day to get closer to your goal. You know, maybe if you're a female and you're wanting to lose weight and get strong, like, you know, cut the Coke out for one day, and then the next day it's like go for a 20-minute walk, and just do little things each day to achieve your goal. You know, we all are worthy of having anything that we want in this life. And I think, yeah, if you can focus on being your best self, contributing to others in the process of that as well, which is really, really important. I think that, yeah, anything can happen. So just, you know, be encouraged and don't get down on yourself just because you're not where you want to be right now. There is your time and your moment in the right timing when your heart is ready and when your mind is ready to handle what's next. So yeah, just don't ever forget your dreams.
Absolutely. And that was going to be my last question, what your advice would be to people who are new or in the industry now, but you've absolutely nailed it. And you speak so much from your heart, which I love, because I think that's the information that people really need to hear as well.
Yeah, I used to be very logical, being a single mum who had to be a
Yeah,
mum and a dad.
Yeah.
And I had to like really find my inner feminine heart again. And that's been my process as well. So maybe that's why I'm speaking from the heart, because I actually, for once in my life, through my journey, actually generally feel from here. And I feel like going from my head to my heart has been a huge change, because I was more stressed in my head. I know as females, when you get in your head and you're like, I should be doing this, should be doing that, I should be looking like that, why has she got this and I haven't got it? I'm doing the same damn thing. Like when you get in here, it's too much. It's overwhelming. You're not meant to be thinking from here all the time. So come back to your heart and your soul. Let the stress go, let go, trust life, that everything will work out and you feel a lot happier. So yeah.
And it's so
from the heart.
Definitely, it's so evident. And I just had a thought that, you know, I have been seeing yourself and your partner talking a lot about masculine and feminine energy, and I think it's so interesting that you guys have really been delving into that topic, and it's very evident in the way that you speak that, you know, that might be something that you're working on, and that could be a whole another discussion for a whole nother podcast. I love that so much.
It's so
and maybe
funny.
we'll get your partner on.
Yeah, well, we'll have to, because we've got a few podcasts lined up together
Awesome.
really soon. It's something that we are wanting to fill that space with, only because we've had to go through this process ourselves. And I can tell you, when I was really in my head, and he was kind of more in his heart, we were like the opposite. We were clashing, like we weren't good, you know. It was like I was masculine and he was kind of more feminine, and we were just like repelling each other. So we both had to do that whole heart change and come back to our actual center, which is who we are. I was born this way and he was born that way. And I think, it's a whole nother subject. But yeah, ladies, just be you, be sweet, be in your heart, you know, still lift heavy, still do what you want to do, and don't let anyone else tell you who you should be or how you should be. Just feel comfortable in you.
Absolutely. And I couldn't have said it any better myself. But thank you so much for coming on today. It's been so amazing talking to you. And I think all the girls and guys listening to this podcast today are going to get so much out of all your wisdom. And just thank you for coming on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I know we tried to do this podcast a week ago, but we got here in the end.
We did.
But thank you for having me on, Alex. And
thank you.
We can do this again soon.
Definitely. I'd love to have you back on.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye.